The JRPG genre has a lot of problems, and I think that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has fixed so many issues that I have with this genre, and I hope to God that every single JRPG dev is watching this because they have a lot to learn. The story pacing is phenomenal. It has so many little quality of life improvements that improve the gameplay pacing. The combat system is also probably the best I've ever played in a turn-based game. And while the last point won't only apply to JRPGs, in fact JRPGs are probably one of the genres that need this the least, this game is a perfect example of what a small team can make with a small budget. There was only 30 people working on this game, and because of that, the game only cost €50 or $50. So overall, this is a great package. So JRPGs were always relatively longer games. Back in the NES and SNES era, people were playing the likes of Contra and Mario, these platformers that realistically you could beat in a matter of hours. But then you got the likes of the early Final Fantasy games, and yes, while 1, 2 and 3 are quite primitive, 4, 5 and 6 started to introduce bigger stories, more characters, more emphasis on these characters. And even at that, Final Fantasy 4 and 6 are considered to be some of the best JRPGs ever made, and they are way shorter than most JRPGs that release nowadays. But then there was a turning point sometime in the 2000s where they just decided, let's make these JRPGs absolutely ginormous. Now, these games are going to be 50, 60, 70, 80, sometimes 100 hours long, and I think they lost the plot. Because I believe that there are very few stories in games that benefit from these crazy runtimes. If you play a story-driven game for 80 hours, there will always be a place where you could trim stuff down or make things more concise, and you will come out with a better story in the end. And I think Clair Obscur is that, because straight away, the stakes are set. Expedition 34 are about to make their journey to try and kill the Paintress. And there's a big festival going on with families saying goodbye to their loved ones, kids who are seemingly 6, 7, 8 years old saying goodbye to their parents, and it is so somber. Through actually seeing all of these crying families, pair that with the amazing music, I was captivated straight away. And then within the next 30, 40 minutes, you're let out into the game, and there you go, you just get to play it. Like earlier on in the year, I played Tales of Grace's F, which I enjoyed to a certain extent, but it was the exact same thing that I expect from every single JRPG. You start as the kid version of the character that you will play as an adult in the future. You get a small bit of combat. You're given all of these, walk here, talk to this character, go back here, watch this cutscene. And then the game will actually get good once you become adult version of whatever character you're playing. So then you have to play 3, 4, 5 hours of it, and it just kills the pacing. There's no stakes set. But Clair Obscur Expedition is the exact opposite. The pacing is immaculate. And every single game has to be compared to Dark Souls nowadays because, well, you know, they're just the rules. I don't make them, I just enforce them. And this game takes a lot of cues from Software. And this is where the quality of life features improve the overall gameplay. So just like in Souls games, you will find a bonfire. Or in this case, it's a flag that was left behind by a previous expedition. Here you rest to replenish your health. And then the enemies also respawn just like Souls games. But what they do so well is they give you a flask. It's not called an Estus flask, but we'll call it an Estus flask for this. And you can use this at any point while exploring the world to fully heal your party. And as you explore, you will actually get more charges. So right now, I have 4 charges on my Estus, which cuts out one of the most frustrating parts of JRPGs, where you're in a dungeon and all of a sudden you're like, crap, I have healing items, but do I really want to use them, or do I want to go back to the town? And in most cases, you have to walk back to the town, or you have to walk out of the dungeon, then fast travel to the town, then fast travel back. And in most games, the item economy isn't so tight that you can't just go out and buy a load of potions. So that doesn't really have a bearing on anything. It just makes it a minor inconvenience to have to do that. Whereas in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, you just hold triangle, and then your party is 100% replenished, and then you could just go straight back into battle. And then another thing is that your party members don't have MP. Instead, it has an action point system, which is exclusive to each battle. So after every single battle, you don't have to go through to a menu or even just click auto heal or auto replenish. Or, once again, you don't have to go back to a town or rest. So it just improves the pacing so much. And the most important improvement that it makes is to the combat. So let's reel it back to insert any other JRPG here. You will be spending the majority of your time in battles. That's just how it is. That's just how turn-based games are. And in most JRPGs, even the ones that I love, there will come a point where the combat system loses its luster. Yes, the boss fights will keep you on your toes. You have to properly kit out your party and upgrade your abilities, and maybe, oh, this boss is weak to fire, so I better equip my whole party towards that. But when it comes to the normal battles, you just enter into the battle, mash X a couple of times, or maybe in some cases you might have to use some of your brain, but the majority of the basic fights are that. They are just basic fights that take absolutely no brain or skill to do. But in this game, you have QTEs that you can do during battles. So if you unleash an attack, you'll get 2 button prompts to press X at the right time and it'll improve your damage. Or if you're casting a healing spell, it's the same. But where it really shines is the dodge, jump, and parry actions. So the cool thing about Expedition 33 is that you can do a full hitless run if you're good enough. I'm not, but I'm sure there will be somebody that will do it. So every single attack can be parried, dodged, or jumped over. And it means that your brain never ever shuts off. Because these enemies deal a lot of damage and you want to be able to parry them, or at the very least dodged. And you're given so many great incentives to do so. You can put these luminas on your character where if you dodge you get 1 extra AP, or if you do a perfect parry you deal more damage on your counter, or you just get a counter attack, which are really, really powerful. And all of this means something amazing to this whole genre, and I really hope that people take note. Early on in my playthrough, I came across an optional boss, and he basically one-shot every single one of my party members. And in a normal JRPG, I'd be like, oh, I'm just not meant to fight him. I could either go off and grind, or just play the game for 5 or 10 more hours and then come back and fight him. But because you can dodge or parry every single attack, I could go into that fight and know that if I learned his attack patterns and how to parry or dodge his attacks, I'd be able to beat him. And guess what? I did. It took me 8 or 9 tries, but eventually I got so good at parrying his attacks and I managed to beat him. And I was like, geez, that's such a small little change to this genre, and it makes it so much better. And I haven't even spoken about Clair Obscur and how it just shows that you don't need these crazy overblown budgets. You don't need $400 million to make an amazing, genuinely groundbreaking game. And the developers and publisher have been rewarded handsomely because the game has already sold 500 million units, as well as getting the Game Pass bag, which I don't know how much money that is, but that's a lot of money. And also it, I believe, is the highest rated or joint highest rated game of the year. And yes, when you play this game, you can see that it is made by 30 people. In the sense of gameplay, it's amazing. I think it rivals every single other JRPG I've ever played. But when it comes to the likes of facial animations, just animations in general, you can see that this is a more budget game. But that is totally fine by me. I don't mind. If this means that this developer is way more sustainable, means they make way more profit, means they have a way bigger chance of staying in business for their next game, and also means the developers are way less stressed having to think about making up the money for their next game, then I think it's well worth it. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, while I haven't beaten it yet, is an amazing game, and I highly recommend you play it. It's on Game Pass, so I guess it's $3.99 if you want, but if you really want it, please support these developers, because what they've pulled off is nothing short of amazing. I can't wait to play more of it, because right now I'm pulled right down the middle between Oblivion Remake and Clair Obscur. I'm dipping in, playing 2 hours of Oblivion, and then moving on to Clair Obscur for 2 hours. Oblivion for 2 hours, Clair Obscur for 2 hours. It's a great week for us RPG fans, and there will be Oblivion content at some point in the future. I just need to play more of it. But that is a really great remake as well. So it's a good time to be an RPG gamer. So of course subscribe to this channel, because that's what I mostly cover, RPGs and open world games. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 in the comments down below. And yes, I say 33, not 33, because I can't say that because I'm Irish. Thank you. Goodbye.